Hey y'all, welcome back. It's me, Mama King. I am the Divine Oracle. I'm so glad you could join me. This is a different kind of video. I may use a little tarot because I have a body tarot deck. Okay. And we'll just see what comes out once we go over this. I had picked up in a reading earlier today that there could be someone who is physically injured or feeling some sort of pain, physical pain. This could be due to some sort of unreleased trauma, unresolved trauma. I am not a doctor, a medical doctor, or anything like that. I'm not licensed. But I have been in the past, as far as like being a CNA. I've been a licensed cosmetologist, so I have a little bit of understand. Well, I have more than a little bit of understanding of how the body functions and works, and I also have taken other classes outside of that on my own to learn about the body. But I am not licensed, nor do I recommend any sort of. Only thing I'm going to recommend is things that have helped me or my connection to the same topic. It interests me because I was dealing with these same situations of being ill and getting older and breast cancer and not being able to know my true identity as far as my paternal side, my father's side of the family, to where I would be able to connect the health issues I began to have as I got older. Plus, it was also connected to some unresolved trauma. I do believe it's also connected to healing your generational curses. If you are someone who deals with a lot of hereditary, you know, physical ailments and things like that, things that are passed down through the generations, I myself believe that it comes through some sort of spiritual aspect. Okay. This is my belief. If you watch my channel at any length of time, you understand that the way I think. There are others who think the same way I do, but I don't know. People just don't pay attention, or sometimes people just want to feel sorry for themselves and they would rather hold on to the physical pain instead of releasing this unresolved trauma that I feel is my personal opinion. It's only my opinion. I'm not licensed. I'm just using my own experiences and what I've learned on a general consensus that anyone can find. Okay. Internet, energy. I also have textbooks and things like that. I have been licensed before, like I said. So, anyway, to clear me of any sort of malpractice or trying to say that I'm practicing medicine, that is not the truth. This is only my own experiences and what I've gathered from readily available outside sources, and then connected them to my true when I was licensed. Okay, so the physical signs of unresolved trauma, understanding the impact of trauma. Trauma can affect the body in profound ways and impacting our health and our well being. We see that in the tarot readings, okay? Unresolved trauma can manifest in a variety of physical symptoms, leading to chronic pain, digestive issues, and even autoimmune disorders, which is something that my generation or my family, my father's family, was plagued with. My biological father has passed away from complications from an autoimmune disease. I have a sister who is suffering from an autoimmune disease. I also have a brother and another sister from my mother's side. Um, she does suffer from some sort of digestive issues. And my brother, I don't know of any health issues that he may have, but it doesn't mean that you have to be affected just because your family is, okay? It's just you just have a higher chance of being affected. So it is crucial for us to understand how trauma can impact the body. That way we can address the effects of it effectively. I'm not just on here to be a show or to show off something. I'm here to learn. I began this channel because I wanted to learn about myself and who I am truly. And I've discovered that. So there's no reason for me to stop since I learned since I learned online, I'm going to keep being online. And it's a way for me to communicate. Because, like a lot of us, we're not surrounded by people who resonate with us. Okay. We're just a bunch of noise to some, even though we know we're making perfect sense. Okay. If you agree with me, please hit that like button. Okay. I was going to go live and do this, but I needed to look up some more research and I wanted to be able to pause and not drag things along. And Then you can watch this at your leisure in the playback. And I may have to remove some background noise. So they got music and stuff playing. So anyway, so we're going through my notes right here, this outline, and then I'm going to look at this. I have some graphics I want to show you so we can get a good look at this and maybe bring it all together so that you can see physically and also put my words together and my understanding of this and my situation. Maybe it does resonate with you and you've suffered some of these things, or maybe it's something you need to look into that could give you a direction to go where you can, you know, be in contact with your own medical squad, okay, to help get you healed. So I'm just, you know, a person on the street just talking about my business. Common physical signs of trauma are like muscle tension and pain. I've experienced all of that, like chronic muscle tension, headaches, back pain are common physical signs of unresolved trauma. Now, if I had realized that at the time, I would, you know, have kept maybe working out, because at one point, before I was tapped into the spiritual thing, I had started really feeling bad. I was eating a lot of sugar and things like that. And I was still young. I was only 30. And so I decided to get up and just focus on getting my body right and everything. Plus, I was dealing with some emotional problems in my home. And so, that was making me feel better. But sometimes when you're looking for the best and trying to get your way out, there are going to be others. If you're unaware of the company that you're keeping, there are others who are going to do everything in their power to bring you down and to knock that confidence down. Okay, and that's also more traumatizing. That's something is piling on. They're just piling on trauma. Okay, some of us could go through that, but it's time for a new day. It's time for us to put this knowledge together and make sense of it all and fix it. Okay, so common physical signs of trauma are muscle tension and pain, chronic muscle tension, headaches, and back pain. They are the most common physical signs of unresolved trauma. You're holding all of that in within. So also you could have digestive issues. That could be a problem. Trauma can lead to digestive problems like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, a lot of bloating, and even changes in your appetite, whether you're stress eating, overeating, not eating, eating the wrong types of foods. Okay, it can also throw your sleep off. I remember having issues with that. Wow. Looking back on the situation now in my life before now, I do make these connections spiritually and the trauma that I did suffer and the physical pain that I went through. I understand where it comes from now. I understand. It helps you it just helps you feel so much better about the future when you have an idea, when you have an understanding of how things are really working, how your body is physically connected to the people that you're around and the energy that you're around and the time you spend in spirituality and meditation and prayer and religion, and how you work that out and balance all that out to work for you and not against you. Okay, so sleep disturbances could also be a big problem for a lot of people. Difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or even having nightmares can indicate past trauma. Okay, this also can help with the spiritual world connections. Oh, you got to pay attention to all that stuff, but you can't let it overstress you. You have to let those things that maybe seem abnormal or paranormal just be normal in your life. Um, I know it may be easy for some to say or for me to say, but it's possible if that's what you really want. If you really want peace, it's all a balance. The physical, the spiritual, the Two of Pentacles. It's all a balance. Um, we're also talking about the body's response to trauma. It does have a natural response that can be triggered by trauma or traumatic experiences. I think we all can agree with that, leading to some sort of physiological changes like increased heart rate, rapid breathing, and muscle tension. So when you get scared, your body's going to tense up, or possibly if you're in anticipating like a car accident or something like that, unless you're, impaired by some sort of substance. Okay, sometimes that gets you in a state of relaxation to where you're not actually hurt. How many times have we seen the perpetrator of a drunk driving accident walk away unharmed and everyone else is out? Okay, or seriously injured. So it's because they didn't have a response to the trauma before it happened. Their body was in some sort of relaxed state to where it didn't tense up. So when trauma is unresolved, the body remains in a state of hypervigilance. Trying is it fight or flight? Fight or flight? Even in safe environments, you're always nervous. Oh God, whew. That was one thing that I do remember it being. Why there's such a difference. How I know that I've healed some major trauma in my life is because of the difference in the way my body feels and the way my body reacts to certain situations, even if it's a repeated situation. My body responds differently because I've worked on that healing. I've released those bonds. I've released those ties to those traumas. I spoke earlier in my video today that I grew up with my mother yelling all the time. And that's the only way she would communicate is through yelling. She wouldn't say anything else to me. I mean, she talked about me like a dog to everybody else, but she never said anything to me unless she was downing me and yelling at me. Um, so I kind of learned to be, smug or just quiet and just sit back and watch. I really wasn't ever allowed to express myself too much as a child. So, but in the end, it works for me because it's easy for me to get relaxed and be patient and just to wait. I had to learn to be patient because she wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Wow. Anyway, so this prolonged stress response can wear down the body system, contributing to physical health problems. I did realize when I got out of her energy and went into the military, I was physically traumatized. I was feeling the effects of that. I was having like panic attacks and stuff. I didn't know where it was coming from. As I was 18, I still didn't understand the trauma that I was going through. It just didn't dawn on me that I was being abused because I was so used to the way I was living. So anyway, your body does withhold that energy, and it's a good thing I went to the military because I was able to actually work, and because you got to physically do things, so it did help disperse some of that energy. Maybe that's why I enjoy basic training so much. Maybe not at the time, but looking back, it really did help me, and it helped me know what physical discipline is, and it's not hard for me to get back into that when I just put my mind to it. So healing from trauma therapy is essential for addressing unresolved trauma. So if you need to see a therapist, please do so. Some of you are therapists, okay? Therapists provide a safe space for individuals to process their experiences and develop coping mechanisms. All right. You choose who you want to help you out. I would never force anyone to listen just to me or to even listen to me at all. I'm just giving you my own experience. Always seek professional help if you need to. You know whether or not you need professional help. And of course, if some sort of medication or whatever, then they can prescribe that if that's what's necessary. Just make sure you get someone you trust, okay? Because you're gonna go releasing a lot, and you gotta make sure that others can also handle that. Someone that you're speaking to can handle that, and they know how to not internalize it themselves. Just because someone is a professional therapist doesn't also always mean that they are doing things the right way either, too. So use your own discernment, seek professional advice, use your own wisdom, and watch out for you. Protect yourself. Mindfulness practices such as meditation and deep breathing exercises can also help regulate your nervous system and help you reduce stress. So I didn't remember. I do remember when the cord was cut for this energetic, like the chakra, like the solar plexus chakra, that low self esteem that I was feeling all my life and couldn't figure out, like a pit in your stomach. Something in your stomach is just not right, and you can't put your hand on what it is. Like nothing was ever really settled, or you never really feel settled no matter what. Even if you were physically safe and there was no immediate danger, you still felt like something wasn't right. It's an energetic cord of self doubt that we hold on to. That solar plexus work has been done to us to lower our self esteem. We hold on to that. Even if we dismiss it in our mind, just so we can continue on, we're just trying to get through the motions. We're just trying to not look like we're dead, right? We're just trying to go to work. We're trying to just do normal things. But within your body's holding the trauma, which is why I guess I brought this up here. Okay, so I remember when that was cut, it did take some time. I had to recognize it and see where it was coming from and realize it. Studying my birth chart, studying my past history, situations in my life, how my life had been going. Just I took a real look at who I was and the people around me and what happened. And I had to heal, and by forgiving myself, forgiving others in my mind, even if I physically cannot forgive them. But I'll never forget that I'm not holding on to any sort of bitterness or irrational feelings about folks. Okay, I'm just trying to keep myself safe. And if things change and open up, I'm willing for that to happen, but I'm not pushing nothing except myself, right? To keep going. So that physical activity such as yoga and walking, which I do more Pilates and yoga, but I do like to walk. That does release endorphins and it promotes relaxation. I used to run when I was younger, but that's so hard on your knees and things like that. I can run now. I may be not hitting 55, but my ass can, I can haul ass. Okay. I think that may be hereditary too. Somebody in my family can run. I can run. Um, but I do enjoy running. I for some reason, when I was in basic training, I was like, maybe because I was so spoiled and everything, I didn't have to do it too much physical activity. Plus, I was being always on punishment. But anyway, when I got in the military, I had to run. Of course, you do. Oh my God, it seemed like it kicked my ass. Like it was the worst thing in the world for me to run. But after I got out, I was always running. Okay, that's why I had lost all that weight at 30. When I got back in the gym, I was running my ass off every day, and it made me feel really good. Okay, now I do more walking and Pilates. It's releasing those endorphins, and of course, it makes you feel relaxed. It also helps with your sleep, and your weight. Okay, and help regulate your blood chemistry and all that. So that's something that everybody should know. Okay, they teach you that in grade school, I believe. Okay, so look for resources where you can find a good therapist or search out your own. I've heard about BetterHelp. They're not sponsored, but I've heard about them. I guess it would be a good, quick way to do it, an easy way to find them. You can also search out support groups, social media. Find those who resonate with you, um, or just particular people who are specializing in trauma recovery. Okay. Hopefully, you enjoy my readings because that's what I promote. That's what I look for when I do my readings. That's what I search for, where the healing can go so people aren't depressed, so people aren't sad, so people aren't hurting and dying and stuff like that that we really don't want to deal with. Okay, we want to live a good, happy life, and it's possible if that's what we work towards. So please seek any sort of professional help or confirmation of anything that you may have already been thinking about. I'm just suggesting. I'm just giving my own experience. Okay, I am not licensed. Once again, I'm not offering any sort of medical diagnosis or prescriptions or whatever other than just loving yourself and seeking out the best help you can find for yourself. Okay, and especially if you feel like any of this relates to you or your physical problems. Okay, so emphasize that healing from trauma is a journey that requires patience and self-compassion. Okay, I love the fact that I'm very compassionate and I know that I am, because I know how much I love myself. So let me share the screen so we can see this physically. Um, Share screen, parts of the body. Okay, we'll look at this one first. Can I do multiple? I don't know. Anyway, let's see this. We have fatigue has to do. Let me see if I can bring this up. Okay, so fatigue in the brain, you get brain, you're doing too much, you're thinking too much. You have to rest, like that restless energy, that four swords energy I see. Okay, I have a decreased mood, like Page of Swords in reverse, or even the Page of Cups energy. So changes in your skin texture, you could have a loss of skin tone, loss of moisture, maybe your face looks dry, you could be getting some breakouts or, stuff like that. And it also thins out your skin and more delicate skin. Yes, yeah. So the narrowing of the arteries, you got heart troubles here. You have increased blood glucose that goes with that diabetes and sugar stuff, maybe not eating properly or stress eating, having a decrease in nutrient absorption. I remember feeling like that when but right before I got the cancer diagnosis, I felt like I was eating and eating and eating, and my body wasn't absorbing anything. So that's your gut, okay? That's that intuition. So something was really off. I had a really snaky people around me. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Yeah. And um, so the decreased immunity, which makes way for diseases to come in, cancer. Everything was just off. I was so miserable. Oh my God. It was right before I started. Um, a few years after that, I started fasting. Right after my cancer diagnosis and things, I did this 3-day fast one time, and then the spiritual started coming in. And things just started getting really magical. I didn't realize it would come to this, that it was mine all along. Spiritual health, physical health, mental health was mine all along. And I just remember being in search of it. Like, what is wrong with me? Why? In my heart, I just knew there's no reason why I shouldn't be happy, but I couldn't understand why I couldn't get that way. But there's other forces working against us, okay? Sometimes it's coming from the inside, and that could mean your family. A lot of us are born in karmic families so that we can have the opportunity to end these generational curses and to heal ourselves spiritually and physically in our generations for eternity. All right, so also dealing with that gut health, that sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra energy. And look how these are flipped though. Well, this like pink or something, purple. Like this has to do with your intuition. Yeah, so when you're all clogged up with trauma, you can't think straight sometimes. You're not really tapped in. You're not really hearing from the Most High. You're not hearing from the heavens, okay? Decreased immunity, which allows in diseases and things like that. And look, the kidneys are hormonal imbalances. So the chemistry is off, like the Sagittarius energy, increased cortisol, which makes you pick up weight, extra weight that you don't need. You're just carrying around more fat, which breaks down your muscles here. You're not regenerating them, so your knees start to hurt. Um, you have trouble walking around. I remember that happening too. But right before I started hitting that gym, and putting all that extra stress into my physical workouts. That's also why I will get into like a hobby, or why I keep a lot of hobbies and things around me, so I always have something to do. Okay. Um, let's look at this other one. Where's this at? I just hit that one. Share screen. Um, is that the one I want? Yeah. There. Okay, so am I recording? Yes. You don't know, y'all. Okay, so looking at this one, I like this picture. I got it off the internet somewhere. Avon me something. They drew this, but this is cool. So we got fear, anger, sadness, disgust, joy, and genius. So this is what your body does, or what's affected, the different parts of your body that are affected with these different emotions. Like I said earlier, that your body, your emotions are they change. You could be fearful one moment, angry the next, sad, feeling disgusted, joy, genius, maybe feeling like I got figured this out. And this could happen at any time, right? For anybody. You don't care if you are usually emotionally balanced. You still go through all these feelings. You should. If you're not, that could be a problem too, right? You're withholding it. You're being traumatized. You're traumatizing your body again because you're not expressing yourself, no matter what the expression may be. Hopefully, it's not anything actionable. You're just going to speak your mind or tell somebody something. Maybe you need to get somewhere in the dark and yell at the mirror. Okay. Whatever it takes, just kind of keep this stuff like within your own aura so that you don't physically act out towards anybody, unless maybe it's an inanimate object. Okay. So with a greater sense, you need a greater sense of safety or sense of so fear. You could get butterflies in your stomach. What is that? Oh, getting fidgety hands and feet, being fearful. Yeah. And sometimes you got to pay attention to your body because your body could be responding to fear that you need to get the hell out of there, right? So it's not always negative just because we do our suffering going through our bodies giving us some sort of traumatic effect. A tight chest, wide eyes and pupils, a pounding heart, a shallow breath, sensitivity to sound and light, a quick mind, butterflies. It's just being in this state all the time. Is that where I feel like that's where the damage comes in, and where it starts to become ingrained, and that's what your body's used to. Isn't that the hypervigilance? Let me look up that word. Hypervigilance. Hypervigilance means there's a state of heightened alertness where an individual is excessively aware of their surroundings and constantly scanning for potential threats, often due to past trauma or anxiety disorders. This condition can lead to physical and emotional symptoms such as increased heart rate, anxiety, and difficulty relaxing. So that could be someone you know, that could be you. But like I said, it's normal. All of these emotions and feelings are normal. It's just a point of staying in these particular states all the time. Okay. Something has to be more abundant. We would rather prefer that people be in a state of joy and genius. Okay. That's the opposite of what the patriarch has taught us. So let's think about that too. Okay. With the anger here, you could walk around with a furrowed brow, clenched jaw, tight shoulders, a hot face, curled toes, clenched fists. The blood is flowing to the limbs like you're ready to take off or something. Tight abs and flexed biceps. And like somebody's always ready to fight. I need something to move or change. So that would be like giving me fire energy. All right. Wow. Sometimes somebody that's always in this kind of state can switch back and forth. That somebody could be diabolical or some sort of sociopath or psychopath or something that people can flip back and forth easily between these two, one end from the other. Okay. Interesting. So I need something to move or change, somebody who's in anger. So sadness is about like, or you could have things like, what is it, cynical? A release of water fluid. Korean, Korean I know is blue. Heavy, numb eyes, mouth or face. Being sad, full of fluids. Or they cry. Oh, crying. Somebody cries a lot or cries at the drop of a dime. They're withholding some sort of sadness or need some sort of connection to themselves or others or purpose. Like somebody could be withholding their emotions, which could cause some sort of the blood flow to the limbs, a numbness or a lack of sensation in the legs, and you could be dealing with that. Maybe a slow heart rate or breath, some sort of low blood flow, or even a heavy body. Okay. Heavy, numb eyes and mouth and face. Somebody's always looking sad, or someone could always be sad all the time, or display some sort of sadness, some sort of connection. So somebody's isolated, or they can feel isolated, and it'll show up in these kind of physical things like people who cry all the time or cry with the drop of a dime. They're withholding their emotions. Um, Yeah. And so with the disgust, I guess it's someone's avoid consuming, metabolizing. I need to avoid consuming. Well, so, but somebody doesn't like, I don't know how this would show up. Somebody who's disgusted all the time, urge to look away or avoid. Or someone could be avoiding, be disgusted with themselves, activated, clenched stomach. I don't know, a lump in the throat, yuck, throat clench, closing. I don't know. This could be somebody who's kind of high minded, or maybe who thinks that they are above everything else, or they don't want to take in the energy, or they feel disgusted by the energy for some reason. They could also be somebody I feel like that would be in a state of sadness all the time. Maybe when they're alone, and then they act disgusted when they're in a friendly with other people because they're sad, they're not connecting. Yeah, I don't want to see why it might be so disgusted. Okay, it could be lack of self reflection. So that to me seems like it could be sadness. And then of course joy. Um, what is that? Slow mini. I gotta bring this up some more because I cannot see it. Um, slow mini. I don't know. Closed eyes, soft jaw, relaxed shoulders, easier breath. Um, spacious. You got a lot of space in your soft hands, noticeable toes and feet. Maybe somebody's very light and joyful. That could disgust somebody, okay, especially if somebody else is sad all the time. Isn't that crazy? Joy could lead to genius. You'd be more productive, more creative if you're opening up here to your heart, maybe taking your anger and your fear and manifesting it and turning it into this genius energy, having an active mind and imagination, trying to figure out how to deal with fear and anger and sadness and disgust. Being perceptive with your own ideas, also with others, okay, for inspiration, using your eyes, ears, tongue, and a nose, like connecting with all of your senses, having an active heart, moving around, being so you're not getting stuck with any energy that's not conducive to activation. Or like this is King and Queen of Wands energy, okay? Having a lot of inspiration, possibly from all these other situations you're in, and gathering up from all of your emotions. And what is this? Um, wisely hands and feet, nicely hands and feet. I don't know, something about your hands and feet. Nicely, you got pay attention to your nails and your toes, manicures, pedicures, expressing yourself. Yeah, because the King and Queen of Wands are attractive. Uh-huh. My needs are met in this moment when you're joyful. So, uh, so there's a need to express this joy here. Okay. Wow, this is nice. Okay, so how is that for an explanation? All right, so let's go ahead and do a little reading here. Pull up what we got. I want to use the body tarot. I'm just going to pull a few so I can tap into the book and see what it says. Thank you for joining me for this special reading. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you do, resonate with this vibe, okay? Let's tap into the energy of the collective. It's about to start raining again. Welcome and welcome back, Soul Tribe. So if you need further clarification about anything in this reading, please don't hesitate to comment below, or you can send me an email, divineoracle1133 at gmail.com. And if you wish to donate, there's my Cash App. Appreciate it. All right, so we do have the Eight of Wood in reverse, like feeling trapped or maybe no longer being trapped. Okay. Uh, Seven of Cups in reverse is digging a little deeper. And the Six of Cups in reverse is innocence in reverse. And we have the Ace of Cups. It's all love. All right, so let me take a look at this. I don't know if it makes way for him being in reverse, but we're just going to read what it says. The Eight of Wood. Eight of Wood is about, okay, so someone could have been trapped or felt trapped, but it's in reverse. So there could have been some sort of confusion or something was blocking your understanding, your vision. Okay. There is nothing quite so distressing as feeling trapped. And that's the energy this card suggests you are currently experiencing. So if you are confused about which way to turn for a solution, you should know that it is not external to you. You are the answer you are seeking. It may sound like hogwash when you're in the midst of a crisis to be told that you can pull yourself out of it. But remember that you are far more powerful than you can ever imagine. Look for the solutions in your own emotional armory. Okay. I just said that. It's true. It does bear, it is worth repeating. But it's the truth. You have everything you need. We're just here to help and guide each other. So the Seven of Water is in reverse here. It does speak to rationality. In the tarot, Seven of Cups is like some realization or even being out of choices about feeling trapped, or making someone could be making excuses for being trapped or trying to blame someone else, but the real healer is you. Okay. It's within you. Have you ever held on or held out for a better offer, okay, only to find that you lost the one that you had in your hand? So this card calls for decisions to be made rationally and without dreamy fantasies. And just because someone told you that they heard of a house that sold for twice what yours is worth in your area last month does not mean that you will receive the same price. Don't let the stars in your eyes blind you to what must be done in the here and the now. The more you can keep yourself from daydreaming and stick to the facts, the better the outcome will be. That's true. You got to get a handle on things. Maybe you have. Okay. The Six of Water, which is going a little back in the past, in the upright, it represents innocence and bliss and confidence. Here it's in reverse. So if you have been a child dancing with no self consciousness, or you have seen a child dancing with no self consciousness, you have witnessed the energy of this card. It's a joyful, innocent, blissful pleasure that we should all be able to access whenever we want. So, however, as adults, we forget this legacy and we become terribly serious. And this card gives you permission to release any starchy regard for what people think. And you dance like no one is watching. And this may be difficult to do if you've kept yourself buttoned up for a long time. But you may find that situations arise now that give you the same kind of emotional joy. Okay? Be doing something. You be doing something to make you happy. Maybe something you did as a child. Of course, we have the Ace of Cups, divine, divinity. Someone may want to tell you something amazing that happened to them. Secretly, someone may feel uninterested in you. Someone's leaving, you're leaving. Maybe you're not interested. Somebody wants to tell you something secret. I don't know if you're not interested. You may not be interested. It could be someone. Welcome I want you to know your presence is appreciated and I can be a safe space for you. I have a hostile attitude. Someone that you love. Maybe this is a child who may have an issue with you. Hmm. Maybe you have an issue with this person. I don't know. You see something inside of you, admire, and I would like to learn from you. Maybe somebody's coming to some sort of realization that maybe somebody wasn't who they appeared to be, or they didn't want to be bothered with them. Maybe now they've changed their mind. Somebody's unable to forgive because they're stuck in some sort of failure or energy of being or falling. Yeah, you need to clear your energy, or somebody hasn't cleared their energy. Something or someone is fighting for freedom, or they're fighting for things not to change. Somebody's stuck in purgatory. Somebody's stuck in purgatory. Love, maternal, and change. So there's a beginning of a new loving relationship, but not necessarily with a new person. It may well be that your existing relationship undergoes a sea change to be even better than it was before. Use your intuition to give you clues as to where you can show more love to yourself and others, and this will enhance the love energy. This also strongly indicates mothers. So if your relationship with your mother is complicated, this ace coming up is a spread, and a spread suggests looking at it in more detail. Wow. All right. Well, that was interesting. Hmm. So I hope y'all enjoyed this reading. Please let me know in the comments below. And I'm going to see y'all later. Okay? Bye-bye.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I gotta vent.